Remember the whisper that changed the world? Bush heard war. Trump heard peace. And the world's celebrating. Trump decided to get in on the party, too. He gave Israel a ring and said, your families are coming home.
The hostages will come back. They're all coming back on Monday.
All of them.
Donald Trump spent all night in the Oval Office, putting the finishing touches on the Israeli-Palestinian peace deal. He walked into his quarterly cabinet meeting, and it was all love.
I don't know if one day perhaps the entire story will be told about the events of yesterday, but suffice it to say, it's not an exaggeration that none of it would have been possible without the President of the United States being involved.
The front page of the Jerusalem Post, he's bringing them home. Lives will always be more important than land. You can get land back, but you can't get lives back. And guess what day tomorrow is? Nobel Peace Prize Day.
I didn't do it for that. I did it because I saved a lot of lives.
Trump's not being selfish. If he can't get the Nobel, he'll settle for a one-way ticket to heaven. But that Nobel would look nice next to his multiple club championships at Mar-a-Lago. Or in the Oval, the gold matches the trim. Trump's not the only one who thinks he deserves it. Israel says, stop the count.
A grateful nation thanks President Trump for the return of the hostages, for the peace he has brought to the region. I call on the Nobel Committee to award President Trump the Nobel Peace Prize.
Even Democrats are saying it's too big to rig.
I think the whole point of having a Nobel Peace Prize is for ending wars and promoting peace. And if he brings the Ukrainian war to its end, I'll be the Democrat leading the committee.
Every Democrat should be celebrating, right? Rashida Tlaib used to spend weekends banging pots and pans outside of the Capitol, screaming, free Gaza. Well, Trump just freed Gaza. And what did Tlaib say? Nothing. Not a tweet, not a press release, nothing. Makes you wonder if she really wanted to free Gaza at all. Maybe she was more into the Intifada. Even the media is saying Trump pulled off the deal of the century.
Make no mistake, it looks like President Trump has actually pulled off something here that many presidents before him have failed to do.
It is a remarkable achievement, and President Trump most certainly deserves credit for his role. He has done this through diplomacy, pressure, and the sheer force of his personality and persistence.
There's no way that I can see that this would have been done without Trump's pressure in the final hours.
Biden couldn't pull this off because he had a nasty relationship with the Saudi prince. And after October 7th, didn't give Netanyahu enough room for revenge. Trump's first visit this term was to the Arab states, announcing a bonanza of billion-dollar deals. Then Trump joined Israel's attack on Iran, bunker busters. And then he said, all right, you two, knock it off, but still let Bibi have a free hand in Gaza. And then the prime minister miscalculated. He launched airstrikes against Hamas negotiators in Qatar. Qatar's an ally, a business partner. We have bases there. The Arab world was humiliated, and Trump was shocked. He summoned Netanyahu into the Oval, handed him a phone, and made him call Qatar and apologize in front of the cameras. Some said it looked like a hostage video. Afterwards, Trump put out a 20-point peace plan and told Bibi, sign it or American support for Israel's done. When the Israelis were still trying to nitpick parts of the deal, Trump said, stop looking for loopholes. Netanyahu countered, how do we know Hamas isn't just bluffing? Trump said, why are you being so effing negative? And he told Hamas, sign it or I'm letting Netanyahu off the leash. That means 72 virgins by New Year's. Historians are saying Bush, the elder, thought this was impossible.
I said, this is the man who spent decades dealing with this. I said, Mr. President, do you think this ever gets resolved? And he said, God, I don't know. That's what one of the most experienced diplomatic presidents in American history thought, is that it was an unknowable thing.
Why couldn't career diplomats get this done? Kerry, Hillary, Blinken. We were told Biden was a foreign policy savant. And now Democrats are asking, what happened?
Why do you think that this was not doable when President Biden was in office?
I think the biggest problem that the President Biden had is there was no pressure from Qatar, from Turkey, from Egypt.
But I think by saying that, it's sort of an acknowledgement Trump has changed that dynamic.
The Middle East didn't respect Biden. It's never a good idea to tell the Arabs, you're swearing off oil and going green, and then come calling back to the kingdom begging for more oil from a guy you called a killer. Leaving Afghanistan didn't help very much either. Trump was a lot different. With the help of Marco Rubio, Steve Witkoff, Jared Kushner, and of course Donald Trump, all New York real estate developers put pressure on both sides and got them to sign on the dotted line. Personal diplomacy, business investments, and deterrence, aka Operation Midnight Hammer, convinced all the parties to listen and follow 47's lead because they trusted him, and most importantly, they respected him. When Biden said don't, everyone did. But with Donald Trump, when he says don't, then you don't. And now that's the rule even for Israel. The world was used to the Obama-Biden way of doing things. They just throw money at the problem. And when they didn't get results, they just throw more money. Trump's always been about making money, not giving it away.
Gaza is going to be slowly redone. You have tremendous wealth in that part of the world by certain countries, and just a small part of that, what they make will do wonders for Gaza.
With the hostages freed and when the fighting stops, fingers crossed, an alliance between Israel and Saudi Arabia can finally gel, and the Abraham Accords can spread. The crippling of the Iranian nuclear program made that possible. That means we can pivot to the Pacific and back into the Western Hemisphere if the Middle East can make money, not war. We spend our money on America. Trump stopped 8 wars since January. 8. A guy who stops wars, do you call him Hitler? How do Democrats feel now, trying to arrest the man who made peace in the Middle East? With all this success, maybe we should let him run for a 3rd term.
This is the president prepares to fly to the region Sunday. First, he'll go to Israel, then Egypt. One thing he's not going to be packing, though, is the Nobel Peace Prize. That honor this year just went to Maria Corina Machado. She is Venezuela's opposition leader. She did, though, throw the president a bone, posting on X, quote, "I dedicate this prize to the suffering people of Venezuela and to President Trump for his decisive support of our cause." The White House blasting the Nobel Committee for choosing politics over peace. The chair, though, insists it wasn't a deliberate snub.
I believe Trump derangement addiction is finally being licked. I joke, it's never going to go away. This story's fun because we know that Trump deserves it, but we also knew he wasn't going to get it. This was just like this was a recreational belief. The reason why he won't get it is that he's legitimately working on behalf of the American people. It's America first, not Belgium first. And the great thing about Trump is that his personal goals, like he would like to be great and do well, align perfectly with the voters. I don't know if that's ever happened before, because imagine the opposite if the president's aims don't align with the people. We lived through that. Why did the Biden White House preside over such nonsense like open borders, recidivist crime wave, men and women's sports, censorship lockdowns, targeting citizens over speech? These were products of a government in which their aims were not ours. And so when they achieved them, they felt good, but the American public were like, what the hell is going on? Their highlights, our leaders' highlights were our lowlights. And I think this is the closest a president has ever aligned to voters. Every issue, he's on the right side, planted a flag on the hill of common sense. The high ground maneuver has exposed Democrats for being, addicted to luxury beliefs at the expense of the American public. Trump is not just a correction, it's a kill switch. He stopped the country, and in this case, the globe, from barreling off a cliff. And it leads me to ask one more question, Jillian,
You're
if
not
I
allowed
may.
to ask questions
I
in
want to
this
ask
class.
you a question. Where are the protesters who've been driving all of us nuts? You know, why shouldn't they be on the street rejoicing? Shouldn't they be happy? Or is there something that we always knew about them? They need to have other people suffering for them to find something to do.
I mean, there's always next year, right, Jesse? If I had to bet, my money's on next year. This prize is for stuff that went down in 2024 before the president was even back in office. The Gaza deal first phase is going through. It's, looking good for phase 2. What's wrong with 2026?
I'm not thinking it's going to happen next year or ever. No, the thing's rigged. You should see who's on the committee. The guy that chairs the thing used to work for Doctors Without Borders. It's a Soros-funded hit job against the United States. They basically funneled all the illegals here and then said good luck. These institutions like the Nobel Peace Prize have become meaningless, kind of like every year People magazine snubs Greg Gutfeld for sexiest man alive.
Thank you.
And it's like it's starting to lose its meaning.
Finally somebody has the courage to say this.
You're welcome. Who is the heavyweight champion of the world? Exactly. Everybody watches the UFC. Remember when you used to think Victoria's Secret models were like, oh my God? Now they're all
trans. They're all trans,
can I
Jesse.
say obese? I don't know. Yes, also trans. But it's like all these things Trump has exposed, these institutions like the media, the FBI, the World Health Organization. He comes along and opens your eyes to it. Barack Obama got the prize. It was a DEI prize. He didn't earn it. Even Barack Obama was kind of embarrassed, and he knew he didn't earn it. He got it for diplomacy and nuclear non-proliferation. Did he stop anybody from nuking up? No, Trump did. Trump stopped the Iranians from doing it. And he wasn't that diplomatic. He had no personal relationships with any other world leader. In fact, he increased all of our military assets in Afghanistan, in Libya, in Syria. He had to go back into Iraq because he gave birth to ISIS. So Donald Trump has not started one single war and ended 8. It's pretty clear he deserved it, but I'm with Greg. I don't think he's ever going to get it.
And I think when you were articulating what Obama got it was for the promotion of nuclear non-proliferation. It was for a new climate of diplomacy. Like, they were honest that it was based on ideas and idealism and symbolism, not actual substance. They were literally rewarding hope and ideas. And here we have the benefit of President Trump that actually made history and actually did something. But I agree with everyone. We're never going to get it. He's never going to get that. It's like in 1972. Everyone knew that it was an incomplete pass, and yet it was deemed an immaculate reception. Everyone knew the Raiders should have won, and yet somehow the Steelers won on. Exactly. So everyone knows what I'm talking about. That history is rewritten in front of your eyes, but everyone knows who actually.
It's like every Best Picture in the Oscars is never really the Best Picture. Did Jaws win Best Picture? I don't think it did.
No.
Because only certain genres can win.
Yeah, they give it to like Ordinary People or something.
The worst movie ever.
Terrible movie.
Purple Rain should have won.
We need Ricky Gervais to talk to the Nobel Committee here. We don't care.
Yes.
A couple of things I think really are worth teasing out here. First of all, what a perfect encapsulation of Europe, right? It's all show, no go. It's like I've talked in the past about Europe becoming Epcot. Epcot has more international influence these days than actual Europe, because realistically, if you look at the metrics, Musk alone, 28 satellites this year, America over 100, China 40, Europe 4, all right? Since the last, 8 years, United States GDP grown 19%. Germany, their biggest economy, 1%. All right, I could go on. It doesn't matter. The bottom line is Europe is failing. And this is the kind of thing that they're clinging to, because they'll just never give it to Trump because he's the unwashed American. Look at some of the past recipients of this vaunted award. Yasser Arafat, all right, another, charming character. The European Union itself got it in 2012 for doing what? For being the European Union. The European Union essentially gave itself an award. I could go on as far as that goes as well. There's all kinds of scoundrels that have gotten that award. So I think it actually demeans the American presidency and what Trump has accomplished here, because I think what he's done is going to lead ultimately to things like the Saudis coming under the Abraham Accords, and the follow-on of that is going to be the whole gang of them. You're going to get all of the Syrian, all the way going through the Shia Crescent, all the way into Lebanon. That's everybody surrounding Israel. This will be the first time where you might have an actual stable Middle East. Think about what that does to things like military, fuel prices. This matters. As I said, the Scandinavian Good Guy Award, that doesn't matter. And lastly, real quick, it's still a win because they gave it to this Venezuelan who is very Trump adjacent. That doesn't happen without Trump, and she, of course, lauded Trump upon getting it. And this is something we've talked about. There's a Trump doctrine, a continuation of the Monroe Doctrine. He's looking to change the dynamic from China and to some extent Russia and even Iran in the southern part of the Western Hemisphere here, relative to Venezuela, Cuba, you could go on. That's where this matters. Let the Norwegians keep the award.
If you enjoy this content, please consider subscribing to my channel to stay up to date with future videos. Thank you for watching.